All right, everybody, here we are back on Freaky Fast Broadcasting with the Adrenaline Rush Truck Series for the Evolution Racing Leagues as we're here for round number 10 of their 16-round season here in the 2021. Man, the Martinsville paperclip, it should be a fun one. Remember, this is always the Evolution Leagues brought to you by or Nissan Central, Sheffield Graphics, and ButtKicker. So we have those amazing sponsors, but we got to get into here as we have already our starting lineup here for our race here this season for 267 laps at the Martinsville Speedway. Starting from the pole position, your Sheffield Graphics pole winner is Cody McCauley here, bringing home another pole. That dude knows how to sit in the front row. Second is going to go to Dylan M. Reed in that 31. Third is going to be John Oliette. Fourth will be Curtis Preston. Fifth is going to go to Travis Everett. Sixth, Chad B. Singer. Seventh is Michael Sheffield. Eighth, Alex Rudolph. Ninth is going to go to Chris Harvey. 10th will be our points leader, GT Irizarry. 11th there goes to Richard Gonzalez. 12th is David Edwards. And rounding out your field for the 13th position is Craig A. Burns. And before we get started, I'm Zach Hall, and I got Brandon Colley up here in the booth alongside me as always. Robert Moyer running the cameras. We're going to get a talking here with Cody McCauley. Maybe not, as I don't see him on the Discord right now. So we do not have our Sheffield Graphics pole winner. So Brandon, then I guess you can fill this time up with what do you think we're going to see here tonight, these 267 laps at this paperclip?
Well, Zach, I think we're going to see some loose trucks, especially on these cold tires. I saw a lot of guys struggling with the grip coming off the corner. Really easy to put too much power down, just trying to get a good launch off these tight corners and just light the rear wheels up. You got to be really careful with that. Saw a bunch of guys spin out and collect some other trucks, and damage here is not going to hurt you too much, but you don't want to hurt the engine. And as we've seen before, that these trucks, it's pretty easy to knock the power down a little bit and punch the nose in pretty bad.
Yeah, it's easy to get that nose damage, like you said, and get the power down. And that's something you're really going to struggle with. Is this track's pretty much two hairpin corners with two tiny drag strips. So all about powering out of these corners, keeping the tires under you. It's going to be some bent fenders and maybe some bent fillings after the end of this one.
Yeah, it normally happens at Martinsville. Tempers, short track racing and a lot of contact, just how close everybody's running and these low speed corners. Really a lot of contact happens, and sometimes guys don't appreciate it very much, and a little bit of tempers and some hurt feelings, and maybe they grab a beer or talk it out afterward. But when you're on the track, sometimes that emotion gets the better of you.
This is definitely a place of bent up emotions. That's definitely for sure. They can build up, and then it just releases, and then you don't know what you're going to get here at the Martinsville Paperclip here in Martinsville, Virginia. My favorite track on the circuit, so I'm excited to see these guys in the trucks go to battle here tonight on the good old-fashioned Paperclip, as we have one final pace lap here before we get these guys rolling and kick them off here for their 10th race of the season. So 6 races left after this to decide the champion. Pace truck's going to pull in this time. Cody McCauley going to set us up and lead us to the green flag here with Dylan Reed in the 31 side by side as they come out of turn 4. They should be seeing the green flag here. There it is, green flag in the air, and Cody McCauley sets off down towards turn 1 with John Ouellette in the 3rd position right behind.
Yeah, I think we can expect a pretty strong showing out of that 81 of John Ouellette. He was really quick in practice. It wasn't until Cody McCauley showed up a little bit late into the session that somebody finally took him off the top of the board here. So keep an eye on that 81 for sure.
After his win last season, John Ouellette, last week, John Ouellette there is going to be very strong, I imagine. He said in his interview last week, too, that he feels like Martinsville is a place where you can come run very well at. So we'll have to see if he can back up those statements, as right now looks like the biggest battle we have is Alex Rudolph here racing with Michael Sheffield. Looks like he's going to work his way around the outside with that 42 and get by the 1 now is the 4 GT Irizarry on the outside. This is for the 8th and 9th positions here with Michael Sheffield, GT Irizarry.
Well, kind of a slight edge to the outside this early in the race, I think. Before the tires really get up to temp, getting pinched out on the inside there, it's really easy to lose the rear end, trying to get the power down, and with as much wheelage you've got into it as we saw GT make that pass. And I noticed, Zach, that it seems like the tire fall off. It takes quite a while for these tires to really get worn out within the first 15 laps or so. The fall off is only a couple tenths, so it's going to be all about smooth and consistent here at Martinsville.
Yeah, very valid point there from you, Brandon, about the fall being very small at the beginning of these runs. You won't see these guys really start to really hit the big time fall off till about lap 30 or 40. Then you're going to see who's really got the true long run pace, as they say. Is Dylan Reed in the 31? He had a big moment, got into the curb off the in the middle of 3 and 4, and washed up the racetrack. And so he was a winner at Milwaukee Mile. It's different, but it is a similar short track style place. So, and we know how good Cody McCauley is here. So we gotta really, really, pay attention to who's the comers and who's the goers, because this is a place, like you said, the fall's not much here at the early run, but you can burn those tires up to where you're struggling on the long run here.
Oh, absolutely, and it's actually something I learned from you, Zach, the last time we did a race here. That you know, to run hot laps, you really charge the corner. Almost do like a diamond, let it float up mid corner and then power off, get a really straight exit, carry a lot of speed. But for the long run speed, you've got to back up the corner a bit, and you spend a lot longer than you'd really think you'd want to, just letting the truck roll through the center there. And it saves the tires a ton, and you pick up a lot of speed late in the race. And had it not been for a little error on my end, I'd have done actually pretty well at that race, considering I'm not that great at this track. So these guys,
Yeah.
if they can keep these tires underneath them by just being smooth and just letting the truck roll, you'll find a lot of long run speed.
Yeah, that's a very valid point there also, Brandon. But the thing is, this track also goes through some weird phases. You're going to have points here where the track is going to feel completely different than it does, 200 laps later into this race. This place really is rubber dependent with these concrete corners, and the rubber can really affect this racetrack, and even cautions can change the racetrack. The way the heat is displaced, it's one of the weirdest tracks, because I tell you, I've had races here where you can take off in that first run, be lights out, just feel like you're the fastest truck on the racetrack, just easily marching your way through, and you even have great tire wear at that first run. And then all of a sudden, that second run, you can run into something that's completely different handling, and it just all of a sudden starts to spiral out of control for you, and you really are like, what happened here? I was literally running so fine, and then all of a sudden the track completely feels different. So this is a place where you got to stay on top of the racetrack for the whole race.
And it's a lot of constant adjustments, messing with your brake biases and just trying different braking points. Figuring out what really works for the truck and gives you a lot of consistent speed. Because like you said, heat cycles, they're kind of unpredictable. You never really know what you're going to get until you go back to green after a caution and you've got 5 laps under the truck. And you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't even feel like the same truck. What happened to it? Did I hit something? Did somebody hit me? And it's something we're going to have to watch and see who can really stay on top of that, like you said, throughout this run. There's not that many trucks here. We've only got 13, but slower trucks, lap traffic comes at you in a hurry here, and normally that's where you'll see the cautions is the leaders trying to get around these slower lap trucks, and just a little bit of miscues and some driver contact. It's not that difficult to go around.
This track really comes down to a lot of times what they call rhythm. I know GT even, I think, alluded to in his interview last week. He talked about, if you can get in the right type of feel around here and just get in that groove, you really can put down some amazing laps at this place. And that really comes down to rhythm and hitting your marks. This place is the #1 place, I'd say. If you don't hit your marks, you're just never going to figure it out. And like you alluded to, Brandon, sometimes you're just going too hard. A hot lap here is completely different to a race run here. You're going to use your stuff up immediately if you try to go out here and hot lap and completely attack every entry, because the tires just are not going to like that. So it really plays into a driver that gets into that rhythm, lets their phase build up, and continue that smoothness of continuously each lap getting to that same spot on the racetrack, braking at the same point, rolling out of the brake and getting in the gas at the same point. It's a really, really technical track just for being a flat half mile.
Well, and you mentioned, just really overdriving the corners, trying to hot lap. And it's really easy to trick yourself into doing that, especially at Martinsville, but really any short track. Because short track racing, every gain you make, it's small gains over a number of laps. It's, mile and a half, 2 mile tracks, you're used to being able to see, tenths per lap. Here, it's going to be half a tenth, a quarter of a tenth every lap that gives you that advantage in the time gain over whoever you're trying to run away from or trying to chase down. And if you're not seeing that and you're saying, okay, I should be making up more time, you're going to charge the corners harder to see that gap and go, okay, I'm going faster, when in reality, you're just going to end up going slower in the long run.
Through these first 20 laps, I've really been monitoring these front two of Cody McCauley and Dylan Reed. And, being a place that I love so much going here, I'm seeing completely two different styles here of attacking the corner. Um, Really big difference in their driving style right now. It looks like at the moment, McCauley was quicker that lap, but Dylan Reed has been a little bit quicker. Dylan Reed's using a little bit different line as we have actually our first Ford Nissan Central caution here. 21 laps in the books, and we'll have to see what that was about, as I did not see. Looks like it might have been Michael Sheffield in the one truck here to bring out this caution as well. To find the freaky fast replay here and show you exactly what happened here on lap 21 of 267.
Well, I'll tell you what, Zach, that looks really familiar to me. Just getting in a little too hot, and it's so easy to do. With the track being so flat like this, you charge into the corner a little bit too much, maybe have a little bit too much rear brake, and the back end just wants to swing around really quickly.
Yeah, it really does. Like you said, just maybe in a little too deep, and then that's where you usually lose the rear end in the middle of that corner. And Sheffield did a good job not to really hit anything there either. Nobody else hitting him, so really no harm, no foul. Just an early reset caution here for these guys. What's going to be interesting here with the 5 sets of tires these guys have, 4 in the pits. Will anybody elect to take tires here? It's going to be questionable, especially with only 20 laps on these things.
Well, if anybody does, we've got pretty much everybody on pit road. We'll see if they take tires, but the guys that don't, they're going to get a really big idea of how important tires are going to play later into the run, even with only 20 laps on.
Wow, and yeah, they did take tires here. Looks like Dylan Reed won the race off pit road also in that 31. So great job out of 31 to win the race off pit road. Had a great launch out of his box and was able to get that 31 to the front. And, back to what I was saying with them, Brandon, the lines are completely different. Dylan Reed was getting to the curb. He was running the line where you get to the curb early, wash up a little bit in the middle of the racetrack, and actually bring it back down on the exit, right back to that curb, where Cody McCauley was way more opening the entry up and getting to the curb late into the apex, but he would also open it up on exit. He was running really a line where he's opening up the entry just to help him get off the exit, where Dylan Reed was more, right around the curb, a little bit off it in the middle, but right back to the curb on exit.
And I think, he's just trying to make up a little bit of time. That generally is a line that I would imagine, everybody would run trying to set up a pass. Because here you want to set up the passes off the corners and get in that straighter run. You're going to carry a little bit more speed and maybe get to the inside of the guy for the next set of corners. It was helping him. He was definitely a little bit faster lap after lap as the run was going on. But I wonder how much more that's hurting his tire compared to McCauley, like you said, with that later entry and just rolling into the center, taking it nice and easy.
It definitely can affect your tires differently. I can tell you can get 2 different handling characteristics here just from tire wear, as these guys are getting into the restart zone.
Green,
31 of Dylan Reed going to lead us back to green. Looks like McCauley may have been a little bit out of position there as we head down to turn 1 and 2.
Well, Dylan still the inside advantage here. Cody's going to be able to fight back pretty well, but I think before too long, Dylan Reed should take the lead pretty firmly here. And we noticed on the short run, McCauley was definitely quicker. But as the run went on, Dylan was definitely able to start putting down a little bit quicker laps and slowly catching him in here. If Dylan can just get out ahead here with McCauley on the outside lane, I wonder how well he can do to keep that 62 truck behind him until his truck really starts to come in where he has the speed that he had before the caution flag.
We'll have to see here as they go down the terminus. Like this time, Dylan Reed will get clear of that 62 of Cody McCauley and get himself firmly into that lead, clear up front. And we'll see, like you said, if the 62 can get back around him. I definitely think he's definitely got really good pace there to take off. Now, my thing is, Brandon, everybody's took tires now, too. So we're down to 3 sets left in these pits. Only 29 laps in the books. I kind of questioned a little bit of taking tires that early, but I understand tires are a big deal here. I mean, They, running 22.2s right, or 22.2s right now when they were running about 20.6s. So really only 4/10 of a second difference, up to a half a second difference. And Macaulay almost losing it in the rear as he goes down to the corner, getting in a little too hot, trying to get to that rear end of that 31.
It just looks like he's trying a little bit too hard to keep up with the 31 right now. It feels like he's losing a little bit of time, maybe on exits, trying to make it up on entry. And as we saw with Michael Sheffield, that's a dangerous place to try to gain a lot of time.
Very dangerous, that's for sure. Easy to lose that rear end. Now the question is, what's the balance of these trucks like? Because the line that Reed takes, personally, that's more of a right rear wearing line, as you're putting a lot of load on that right rear as you exit the corner. Now the line that Macaulay takes, in my opinion, a little bit more of a right front leaning type style here at this track. So if you're getting tighter as the run goes on, the line that Reed is using should be the preferred line for for making the tires at least last longer. Now, if it gets looser the longer you go, I would say Macaulay might be in the ball game there for that. So that's one thing you have to watch for. The different lines can really affect your tire wear a lot here at Martinsville.
Yeah, and like you said, it depends on if they're having a lot of problems off the corner. We've seen Cody Macaulay a few times since the restart just lose the back end a little bit off the corner. And doing that, it's going to cause a snowball effect. You're just going to struggle with that more and more. Whereas, Dylan Reed with his slightly diamonding line, he gets a straighter exit. And he's not going to have really that major problem putting the power down, and it should help him in the long run. But we're going to have to wait and see once we get into, a 60 lap run or something like that, just seeing exactly what the balance does on these trucks and who really has the best line. But from that short run we had before, I'd have to say that it was Dylan Reed.
Yeah, it seemed to be trending in his favor here as we look at the 97 of Chris Harvey here, 7th place in the head of David Edwards. These two battling for position. That seemed to be the trend, but I have also seen where people get speed in that little middle portion of the run, and that speed equates to really falling off later. So we'll have to see if he can continue that, his pace as it went on getting better than Macaulay's. Or, what does it change here with him being directly ahead of Macaulay? Does this help Macaulay save a little bit? Is he doesn't able to, to really let it loose? Or is Reed pushing too hard to hold him off? So it's one of them questions here as we look back. Not Craig A. Burns in the 9th, the 15 and the 97, and I believe Craig A. Burns was in the 12 at 1.9 too. So got a new number for the fan favorite.
Well, it went from a fan favorite to my favorite. Seeing as the number 2 is the off-league number that I run. Michael Sheffield has my number 1, so I kind of, root for the both of them in the back of my mind as these races are going on.
39 laps down here at the Martinsville Speedway. Your top 2 still stuck together like glue. The rest of the field kind of fighting it out here back with John Willett there in the 3rd position. Got Curtis Preston directly behind. GT's made a big move. He's up 5 positions up to 5th. And, GT always alludes to us in that Ford truck. Oh, yeah, sometimes it's just that place is not my favorite place. He usually tends to go out there and get a top 3 finish at those type of places. And I think that's what is setting GT apart from the field when it comes to points this season, Brandon. He has, through 9 starts, he has 8 top 5s, and the next closest person is 4. So he's doubled the next closest person on top 5s, and that's what's led to him as he made the mistake there in 3 and 4, letting teammate Travis Everett get by here now to push him back to 6th. But that's what's really kept GT up front consistently with this points lead.
And, talking about the points lead, Zach, I thought, seeing John Willett put out some really strong times in practice that he was going to have a really good shot to gain a lot of points on that Ford truck tonight. But like you said, GT, he's got this ability that even though it's a track that he dislikes or he just can't wrap his head around, doesn't feel like he's got a lot of speed, he comes out and gets really good results. And I think to be a championship level driver in any league, that's what you need to do. It's easy to go out and run well at tracks that you like and that you're comfortable at. But when you can go out and get really strong top 5, top 3 finishes at tracks that you feel like you are absolutely horrible, that's what you need to do to win a championship, and he's proven it right now.
That's the key. That is very much the key to making your way to that championship fight. So we'll have to see if he can continue that. I mean, he's running good right now in sixth. He made a little mistake, let Travis ever get by, but he is up 4 positions from where he started. And if he can get a top 5 day, I think it shouldn't be too big of issues. Like you said, John Willett, he looked like he could probably gain a little bit. Azul GT now has a battle with Chris Harvey in the 97. They're battling for the 6th and 7th position. Here we are. Look at this, side by side as they go down the back straightaway. Looks like GT's going to sell it off in there on the outside. I thought he was losing the rear a little bit there as he clears that 97.
And I think this is the biggest thing for struggling at Martinsville. This for a long time, I really could not stand coming here. A lot like Phoenix, I just couldn't get the power down off the corner, and it seemed like every time the truck would just want to step out or the car would want to step out, and then it compounds itself, like I said, and it makes you hate it even more because it never handles right. And it seems like that's what GT's struggling with now after that tiny mistake. Looked like he clipped the curb a number of laps ago, and it kind of slid the tires a little bit, and he's just struggling off the corner. It looks like lap after lap, corner after corner now with keeping that truck pointed straight.
Looking back from the 97 of Chris Harvey back to the front bumper of David Edwards, as these guys are both on top of GT here for that 6th position. Chris Harvey trying to work his way here. He's going to look to the low side, not inside yet, but really close to the back of that 4. Possibly, maybe you think about getting the bumper, but it is early here at the Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, you don't want to make those moves this early into a race like that. There's a lot of time left to go. The laps aren't very long, and you get into somebody and wreck them, and they're down on power. Maybe if they can keep going, you're going to be passing them quite a few times before the end of this race. We've seen it in real life with Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano, and how awesome that was to see. And you don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, that you never want to get full throttled, as they say. So, yeah, it's not fun to be on the receiving end of that. But I tell you, this is a place where you can see stuff like that happen. So look back at Alex Rudolph. Looks like he's struggling a little bit in the 11th position here. Started.
Yeah, he's got quite a lot of right side damage. Looks like he's caught the right front end of the fence and then maybe gotten loose a little bit coming out of the corner and slapped the right rear into the fence as well, or maybe he had some contact with somebody to help him out with that. But not a very good good evening for that 42 truck, because we got another caution. The 15 of David Edwards.
It looks like 15 of David Edwards around here for our second or Nissan Central caution of this evening. So we'll go here and try to find it on our replays and bring you the freaky fast replay as they head down the back straightaway. Here you see 15 of David Edwards going down to 3 and 4, and that's just a case of just losing the rear under braking, Brandon.
The exact same thing out of the 15 that we saw out of the 1, and a really good job by the 15 to not hit anything there, especially with that overcorrection when the truck started to straighten itself out. Really easy to put the nose in the fence.
Yeah, he could have definitely did a lot of damage right there to the 15 man, but even the rear end he could have backed up into as we see him backing up and keep going. Yeah, it's easy to do what he just did there. That's something you're going to see a common theme of tonight. But here, 52 laps into the books. My question is now, Dylan Reed coming down pit road. I was about to say this is where stuff gets interesting. I don't think he used that put on another set of tires. And he's changing tires. And that 31, you have 2 sets of tires left to do almost 200 laps here. And I mean, that's plenty if this thing goes green. But if it doesn't go green, like we're seeing with these early cautions, then that's not good.
And from what we've seen so far, it looks like about 20 to 30 laps every run before somebody has an issue with handling and just kind of has lost it by themselves. We haven't seen any really truck to truck contact causing any issues. It's just guys, the grip's not there anymore and they just go around. So I wouldn't bank on the fact, unless guys just decide to, really be mindful of this, seeing it happen twice now. I don't think it's going to go green again, or green until the end of the race. So I think this may just be a really bad move for that 31, but you don't know until you know. So he could be a genius with this strategy, and it may go green till the end. And I think if that's the case, this is definitely in his hands. Zach has fallen out of his chair.
Oh wow. Oops. I'm sitting here talking to Mike. Yep. Sorry about that. Yeah, pretty much what I was saying is, going green and at Martinsville and not getting a caution for 200 laps here. It's not two things you normally see too often. So, I mean, it's very possible if it goes green, it could all work out for Dylan Reed. But I didn't like taking tires on the first one. I think if you would have waited to take tires on that first one, I think you could have stayed on the lead lap there, caught that caution, and you could have took your first set this time. But I think they already have 2 sets of tires out of your box pretty much, for 57 laps here in the books. That's just too much for my liking, especially with only 5 sets available.
Well, looking at the fall off, Zach, it was about 4 or 5 tenths at the end of that run. Cody McCauley was running 20.7s to Dylan Reed's going to be running now, close to 20 flats, maybe a little less than that. So he should be able to catch them pretty quick, barring traffic being difficult as we're going back to green here.
Getting ready to head back. Green flag racing with Cody McCauley, John Willett on the front row. There it is. Green flag in the air. Teammates lead us down to turn 1.
Ooh, 97's around.
Yeah, and it's the 31. And he was able to get through it. I was behind. Okay, so that was the 97 of Chris Harvey there for our 3rd caution.
A little bit of help from the 23 on that one.
Yeah, a little bit of help there. David Edwards doing a good job of getting the stop and not hitting anything. So we'll go back here on the Freaky Fast replay and check out what exactly happened here. See the restart. There's the 97 of Chris Harvey in that red truck. Just a little checkup from Harvey he's seen from the outside lane. He tries to go low, and Chad Biesinger there. Not, Chad really couldn't react to that fast enough. Unfortunately, it just happened so quick, and it sent the 97 around, but not too bad. I mean, just a little bit of rear end damage, and you'll take rear end damage here any day at Martinsville.
Absolutely. Definitely want to keep the nose clean, just really for the sake of the engine. Not too much aerodynamics, but I think biggest loser in that one definitely the 23. As it looks like the 97 coming up and giving a little rev to the 23 to show his displeasure. So maybe some tempers flaring it early here at Martinsville.
Yeah, I understand the frustration, but at the same time, I mean, the 23 really couldn't do nothing about that. It was a checkup, and it's hard to see those things. A couple cars, especially in the back where they were. So it's not an easy feat, and you're going to see these guys stay out here and not pit. So changing of what they done. I mean, Chris Harvey will come down and probably get some work done on the rear end, but I believe he won't take tires here. I think it'd be a waste. I mean, he did spin around, but I still would keep going with those tires instead of wasting a set.
Oh, absolutely. And I was questioning initially if maybe some of these other guys would take this opportunity to come down. Granted, that would cycle the lead back to Dylan Reed, and really, for all intents and purposes, be even. These guys elected to stay out and just kind of, they've made their bed now, pitting early, and they don't want to make the mistake that perhaps the 31 has made and take too many sets far too early into this race.
Yeah, at some point, I think the 31 will get bitten by using an extra set of tires. He'll gain track position here at some point when everybody else pits, and he decides not to. But at some point, that's got to bite you for not having that extra set.
And now, Zach, you do a lot of, dealing with truck setups and things like that
Right.
for Road to Pro. I imagine you've done quite a few here for Martinsville.
Yes.
What do you think our fuel mileage is going to be tonight? I know you can go well over 100 laps on a tank, but where do you think the point is where they can make it to the end?
Ooh, that's a hard number. You know, Probably with caution laps involved, you can make it pretty far. Um, going green, the most I think you're going to see green, maybe 160, 170. Um, just green, straight up green flag laps. But it's a really hard thing to say because like cautions here, you save so much fuel under caution here. Of course, but looks like we're going to go back green flag racing here, single file. as we got a caution straight all the way. Green flag's back out, but yeah, Brandon, I think in this 170s is probably the most you're going to see from any full tank here under green flag laps.
Well, it'll be interesting to find out later and how much that lower fuel load's going to affect the balance as well. Look at Alex Rudolph here really sailing it in underneath Michael Sheffield, followed closely by the 23 of Chad Biesinger. These guys are everybody else at the front's pretty single file. These guys are trying to go at it here.
Everybody's doing a great job back here. Oh, who's that
Ooh.
truck that just washed up the racetrack? The two of Craig Burns. Man, I don't know what happened to that two. Oh, he lost the rear under braking. Yeah, so loosey goosey under braking here, and that's a common theme here at Martinsville is getting into hot, losing the rear.
Yeah, I mean we've seen it twice already so far this race. Craig Burns just a little bit hot in there again. I don't know if he's been messing with his brake bias and maybe just a little bit too far and he's not comfortable with it, hasn't been able to figure it out. But he's struggling with entry right now, for sure.
They're riding on board here as the 97 of Chris Harvey gets by the two of Craig Burns here riding on board here with him. See how this is. And look at it. This is a beautiful shot here we get from iRacing riding on board with these trucks. I mean, I've walked on this racetrack. I've been to this racetrack over 10 times in my life, and you just can't match the replication that iRacing has with this stuff, man. It's amazing to see personally. How realistic the laser scan everything is, and lifelike, because I mean it just represents it so well with iRacing that we have these cool tracks like Martinsville. And I mean, Martinsville, literally the oldest track on the NASCAR circuit. I mean, it's so cool to see. We have something like some history like this to run on, and these guys get to go out here and do battle on it each and every night with another track that is in the book of histories of tracks in American motorsports.
Yeah, it's really cool and it's easy to forget when you're, on your sim racing exactly where you're racing and how much history at a place, there may be. It's really easy to forget going into, Indianapolis, all the greats that have ever raced there and won there, and that you're just on another track. But when you sit back and think about it, you're like, man, I can't believe I get the chance to, get as close as I maybe ever will get to running. As we get another caution.
Oh, we do. That's what I'm saying. That's why I would have stayed out. Other checkout here is our fourth or Nissan Central caution here tonight. As let's check out exactly what happened here as we go back on the Freaky Fast replay and check it out here. We're on Alex Rudolph here in the 42. As he comes out of turn 4 here, just lost the rear end. And remember, these guys are on older tires than we've seen most of them take it. And that's going to be a common theme here with older tires, it seems like, just losing the truck.
Yeah, and it might be down to that heat cycle that we were talking about before. It just kind of changes the balance, and you're not really expecting it, because a lot of guys we've seen a little wiggle. We haven't seen any big issues out of the corner like that so far. So that's definitely something we're gonna have to be watching out for now.
Yeah, out of the corners is something we haven't seen yet. So that definitely kind of shakes it up a little bit there. To something new we haven't seen. Most of it's been entry to the corners that we've seen, be a big issue. And, I just did some math, Brandon. I went back and looked at some past history here at the Martinsville racetrack, some data that I have still saved. And it does seem like about 128 laps with these trucks, maybe 130 laps green. So you're definitely going to need a lot of caution laps to be able to make it to the 160s, 170s, like I said. So about 130 laps green here.
Well, we've had a number of caution laps. Granted, a lot of guys they pit at lap 22 for a majority of the field, lap 22. So you've got 22 advantage over that. You can get to about 155. You're getting closer to the 160 mark with the cautions that we have now. But I still think, at the very least, you're going to have to stop for fuel only the one time now. and still doesn't seem like anybody else really wanting to take that extra set of tires. David Edwards in the 15 on pit road this time, only 6.2 seconds, so it just looks like he's topping off for fuel here.
Yeah, a few guys doing that, and yeah, Dylan and Reed, he's got up to the third position now, as the lights, I believe, on the pace truck are out. I believe so. Can I see those? I'm blind. Maybe I need
Yep,
glasses. I was just
they're
making
still
fun of.
on.
Oh yeah, they're still on. Those things are hard to see, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's much easier to see him in a night race.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. That definitely helps. So, while we're under caution here, might as well give a quick shout out to our sponsors here that let us all do this here at the Evolution Racing Leagues and Freaky Fast. So, got to make sure to always shout out Or Nissan Central, the leading Nissan dealership in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. You can go check out their website at www.ornissancentral.com. Remember also Sheffield Graphics. They specialize in sim racing paint schemes as well as team logos and race posters. They do not charge for their work. They only ask for donations to the Folds of Honor charity. And you can find a link to donate directly to that charity on the Sheffield Graphics Facebook page, where you can check it out on facebook.com/Sheffield Graphics. And also, you got to go check out ButtKicker and feel what you've been missing. And go check out ButtKicker.com, and you can use Freaky Fast 20 there to get 20% off on any purchase there. And even their Gamer 2 products. So it's some really cool stuff as we're going to head back green flag racing here at the Adrenaline Rush Truck Series as they head down to turn 1 here at Martinsville with 78 laps in the books.
Well, a couple things I noticed on that restart, Zach, is Dylan Reed, really good jump here, looking to pass the 81 on John Willett, but GT Irizarry looking like a little bit of wheel spin on those older tires. It's something we haven't seen very much yet, especially now. This is about the longest they've been on tires throughout the race so far. So if they decide to stay out a whole lot longer and get a really decent run here before the next caution and still stay out, we may very well end up into some trouble on a restart.
Wheel spin can be terrible at this place. Like you said, as the tires get older and that tread starts to go, you really spin the rear tires on these starts with these higher horsepower trucks that we have. So it's a big factor when it comes down to late race restarts if you're on old tires. So we gotta monitor that, like you're saying. As you can see, GT here right in front of Chad. My question is, when does Reed get around McCauley? You know, these caution laps, Brandon, do help rejuvenate the tires here at a track like this, especially because a lot of times it comes down to heat and air pressure that you build up at a short track like this. And I'm seeing great times from Cody McCauley on these old tires.
Well, I don't think it's a, Cody can run as fast as he wants here, but unless Reed just severely overdrives the truck, it's just a matter of when. He's just being really patient now. He's pulled up onto the bumper. He's just getting into the corner so much better with those newer tires. I think he's just going to kind of, save his stuff up a little bit and just wait for that perfect moment where he gets a really good run and tries to time it with a mistake.
The 97 of Chris Harvey here working.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, he is all over the back of him. Chris Harvey here working up to the back bumper of Chad Biesinger. But yeah, that battle for the lead getting kind of spicy. That 31 getting as close as you can get almost in the corner steers around the front bumper here. Get a good look at the back bumper. The 62, look at that, right to the back bumper. 62 jumps in the gas, is going to pull away a little bit down this drag strip down here on the back straightaway. You're going to enter the corner of these newer tires. You're going to see, look, he's going to be able to roll so much more speed. Doesn't get as close this time, but he's able to stay closer on the exit.
And really, we talked about it before, that's where you set up your passes is on the exit. If you can, stay pretty close on the exit, maybe just a little bit more speed. If you just show the nose a lot of times, especially this early into a run, guys will just give you the position. It's not worth, trying to hope the guy inside of you doesn't wash up the track and take both of you out.
Look at this shot here, the right on the front bumper. Whew. Right to the rear end of that number 62. McCauley doing a great job not slipping up here and getting good exits, and that's the key to making it hard to pass here. You can make it very easy by going off in there and getting on that gas too hard and losing a lot of speed. The entry is right now we're at 31. It's just so much quicker. and he can't go nowhere. If the 62 is on that bottom lane, he's gonna have to try to go around the outside, and that's not an easy task to do.
A little wiggle out of the 62 that time on entry, opened the door slightly for the 31, but man, Dylan Reed is doing everything but giving him the bumper at this point. He's just matching him, putting centimeters between the bumpers each and every corner here, just hoping for a mistake where he can just pounce on the inside going into the down the straightaway to the next set of corners.
There's gonna be a run here, not enough, but all over the back bumper. When does push come to shove? We'll have to see here. It is early, like we must allude to, very early in there, a little bit of a point from Dylan there, but that works. And man, oh man, it's not easy to hold someone off here, especially McCauley on the older tires.
Yeah, and you talked about it a little bit before. It's even with the newer tires of Dylan Reed, just being in the preferred lane like that at a track like Martinsville, where it's so slow in the corners and everybody's trying to get pinched down to that curb. Just being in the way, there's not much that Reed can do aside from giving him the bumper.
Yeah, is that a bumper, or what he's gonna have to do is he's gonna have to get a perfect gap in between him to where he can pretty much roll the corner at his speed and roll to his exit. The problem is he rolls to the back bumper, and then that's when the 62 takes off, because if the 31 does that, he's going to run the 62 over. So, sometimes it comes down to maybe open up that entry, get that little bit slower entry there and longer way into the corner, but it opens up your exit. So I'm going to be interested to see if he can, search around here, because that's sometimes your preferred line's not going to work right against that curb. If that guy in front of you keeps that curb, you're going to have to either move him or figure another groove out, because that's just the way you make passes here at Martinsville. You can't, run over the guy unless you just get desperate. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, lap 93 at 267 is not a time to be getting desperate. As we see here, Dylan is being very patient, just trying to figure out something. He hasn't explored too much. I've seen him take a couple different entries, not far off what he has been running, but definitely hasn't really been that wide entry like you talked about, where allowing him to really roll with his pace, what his tires will allow him to set up that run on the exit. Ooh, big wiggle out of the 31.
Yeah, it's easy to do. Got a battle back here now for the 8th and 9th position. Looks like Michael Sheffield going to clear points leader GT to push him back to the 9th and move Michael Sheffield up into the 8th position.
Yeah, GT seems to be really struggling now with these old tires. We talked about he was up 5 positions from his start in 5th place a little while ago, and just kind of falling back to 9th, now up 1 spot. And we heard it from him last week. He just does not like this place very much, and struggling now. He's hoping that they can get this run out of the way and he can get some fresh tires on this thing.
Yeah, and the run goes on. It just gets bleaker and bleaker sometimes here in Martinsville. It just doesn't seem like it's ever coming back to you. Sometimes this could be a long run when you start to struggle here. Is Chad Biesinger, he's worked his way up to 5th, so that's a great run for him right here, directly ahead of Chris Harvey. Remember, they might. I don't think there's too much bad blood here, but remember, Harvey did get a little bump from the 23 and caused him one of those cautions there. So maybe will have to be something we'll have to watch for here as we continue on. It looks like Travis Everett a little bit too, while behind that too in the 59. Guys are definitely struggling here at the Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, a lot of ill-handling trucks, a lot of worn tires, and I've got to point out, we talked about the fresher tires at 31, but looking at the lap times, he's running the same lap times that all these other guys are, on older tires, just because he can't find a way around the 62, and that may help him out in the long run. When these guys pit, his tires may be a little bit fresher than they would be otherwise if he had taken the leads so far and putting down what laps he is capable of with those fresh tires.
Yeah, and I think the bumper is being used multiple times now. He's been very light with it for the 31, but it's definitely been applied a few times already to that 62. And 62's done a good job of Cody McCauley holding on to that thing and just keeping it nice and straight. I mean, Dylan's not out there just running them over, but he definitely has got to that bumper at least a few times. Ooh, and he almost loses it.
Big slide, just trying to stay right with him and maybe show the nose into the the entry of the next corner and just a little bit too much wheel and a little bit too much throttle.
And it's just showing the strength of Cody McCauley personally. You know, him being able to hold on to all this. I think Reed's quicker for sure right now, but McCauley's just not slipping up. And you see the slide that Reed had. That comes down to, like you said, Brandon, trying to turn up under more exit there, and you got to put that more wheel in it, and that's when the truck's going to break loose. So it's not easy. Passing here is not easy. I would like to see him try something different. He hasn't, like you said, really opened it up and tried to work the outer groove just a little bit to get that that late exit run. It's something I'm going to see because he can get into the entry, great. But if you're right on the back bumper, somebody, getting into the entry is not going to help you.
Yeah, it's really not, and you can see it corner after corner. He gets right there, but as soon as the 62 picks up, ooh, big wiggle out of the 62. He gets into the fence.
Oh wow. Yeah, McCauley definitely the rear tires there on the exit, and that's down to them older tires, and you're gonna see wheel spin. Oh, Reed just a little bit up the track. He loses the rear here too. And that's just showing me, Brandon, that it is definitely rear limited to here. I can't get the word out. I'm rear limited here tonight at Martinsville.
Yeah, these guys have been really chewing up these rear tires. A lot of rear brake buys in the entry, just to help the truck turn, and then that coupled with the over aggressive throttle on exit, just trying to make a run happen. It'll chew them up really quick, and Cody McCauley's still struggling right now. And Dylan Reed just maybe the last time he came by where he slid a little bit towards center, just overdriving a little bit. Doesn't really need to. He's got the freshest tires and is easily going to be able to pull away here.
Yeah, he's looking pretty strong now. The biggest thing is when you don't have that truck in front of you, though, you start to kind of overdrive the entry. You start basing yourself off the truck ahead of you. That makes you not overdrive. So sometimes following at Martinsville actually can tend to be a little bit easier because it's very easy to, once you get out there and you just overshoot your braking, lose the rear end a good bit. But Reed's doing a good job, but he has been overshooting the braking a few times and washing up through the middle. So that's just that's a factor of him getting out to the lead here the first time and not having nothing really to slow him down on entry.
Yeah, and that will really hurt him, later on, especially because I would imagine he's not going to take tires for if we get another caution. It's looking really clean right now. There's been some bobbles, but not much in the way of danger for a caution. So this could go green here, and if it does, I still think he's in the best spot. But if it doesn't, I wouldn't imagine he's going to pit, and he saved quite a bit sitting behind Cody McCauley as long as he did. But overdriving now is just kind of take all that slight advantage away.
It really can, just heating this stuff up. That's the big thing he's got to pay attention to now, is just not overheating his equipment. And that'll play a huge factor in how the rest of this run continues on. We're right on board with Travis Everett here. He is in the 8th position at the moment. He's 59. Hooters machined. He's got GT about half a second back behind him, teammate there, and also teammate Curtis Preston is in 7th right now. So right now you got your slide job racing guys in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th positions, and 11th. So not having the greatest night for slide job racing personally here at the Martinsville Speedway is Michael Sheffield leading the way with him. He's starting to close in on Chad Biesinger here, though.
And I was looking at it a little while back, Zach, and the 29 of Curtis Preston was up there in the 4th position, and he's really fallen off. I don't know if he had a big moment going into one of the corners or a big moment off the corners, but the 97 of Chris Harvey, we saw involved in that incident a little earlier with the car directly behind him, the 23 of Chad Biesinger. And then Michael Sheffield, who was also involved in a previous incident. Granted, he didn't have any damage. All have moved up to fight for that top 5 here. 3rd place John Willett has kind of just been on his own for the majority of this run. Just fast enough to stay out of the clutches of these guys behind him, but not quite fast enough to really catch the 62 or the 31.
Yeah, we'll have to see here this time by, Brandon, because Willett, quicker than McCauley the last 2 times by about a half a tenth that time, about 2 tenths last time by. So it's we could maybe see Willett maybe possibly come up here and challenge for his teammate in the 62 as this run continues on. Because I tell you what, McCauley's really struggling with the rears.
Well, looking at the times, the 23 and the 1 and the 97 are really on par with Dylan Reed as far as
Yeah.
speed. So definitely quicker than the 81 and the 62 right now. They've been very patient throughout this run, slowly, not really racing each other too much, just slowly clicking off laps and saving tires, and it's working out very well for them.
Yeah, and if this thing goes completely green, you're gonna see it really play out in Dylan Reed's favor personally. That's what he really wanted all this to happen. And personally, Reed could be even quicker. He's actually making a good bit of mistakes out here, out front, just kind of really getting too hot into the middle. That corner right there, he keeps it nice and tight to the curb. That's a great turn 1 and 2. But down here in 3 and 4, it's a little bit of a downhill corner too. So this is a very easy corner to wash up. You'll see him come up off the curb there and have to come back down. And that's just a little bit of overdriving from his part. But great lap times right now is a 21.0. And we're gonna have our fifth caution of the evening here, brought to you by Orny Sound Central. I'll have to check out what that is, as I think Travis Everett might have been involved in the 59. We'll have to go back here on the Freaky Fast replay and check out what happens here as they cross the start finish line. Got a teammate GT there right behind him, going down the 1 and 2, right in the middle of 1 and 2 here. It looks like just losing the rear off the exit of 2, and that 59 it's going to kick sideways. So I believe we're going to see a lot of guys hitting pit road this time, Brandon.
Now, the biggest thing, Zach, is does Dylan Reed decide to come in and take tires? He pit on lap 53. We've been about 60 laps, almost 70 laps since then. So I think it's safe maybe for him to take that set, but he's going to be at a real disadvantage should there be a late race caution.
Yeah, he's gonna have to hope now that this thing goes a long ways before they get another caution, and even at that point, he'll be on his last set. So yeah, this is tough for the 31, but he kind of put himself in that position by not staying out and taking that extra set of tires. So we'll see here as they're definitely going to take tires here, I think, because that was definitely the longest run we've had so far on tires. So you could see it just overall from the lap times and the guys struggling with the trucks. So we'll see what happens here as they come off pit road. Looks like Dylan Reed will win the race off pit road. He can hold on to that lead. But remember, he's down to 1 set while the rest of the field here has 2 sets still in their back pocket.
Yeah, I've seen it happen quite a lot where, you play this strategy, you take tires, being a little bit more aggressive and keep the track position. And late in the run, there's just something caution that comes up out of nowhere, and you've got nothing, nothing left, no sets left. And if he decides too late in this race, we get a caution, say 40 laps to go. If he takes his set then, and then they get one with 10 to go or 15 to go, he's not in the worst spot, but everybody else, if they still have a set, which I imagine most of them will, they're going to be tenths quicker per lap. And there's only so much you can do to hold somebody off, especially that late. Not everybody's going to be as kind as he was to Cody McCauley and not give him the bumper to get out of the way.
Yeah, I feel for Dylan Reed because he's put himself in this position. That was his strategy call, but he's going to definitely need some good circumstances to come out of here with a good shot of this. Because yeah, we know he's got the pace, we know he's quick, but sometimes strategy can come back to beat you. And I'm sure that guy in second, he could tell Dylan all about how strategy coming back to beat you throughout the season. So I like where the other guys sit with 2 sets of tires still left in their pit box.
And that's the questionable thing, Zach, is generally you'll see this kind of strategy out of somebody who maybe hasn't had the speed they feel like they need to get up and challenge for the lead. So they just try something different, get a little bit off sequence to try to be in the spot with the freshest tires at the exact right moment. But Dylan Reed was running second when he decided to play the strategy, and he had the pace at the time to go around or at least catch the 62 and fight with him. So to put himself off sequence like this, it's a little bit of a questionable call, but you just never know if the strategy was right or wrong until it's too late to do anything about it.
Pace truck is in this time for our 5th caution of the evening. We're gonna get these guys back. Green flag racing with Dylan Reed leading us back to green. Green flag in the air. 31, Dylan Reed clears the 62 on the restart, but here comes Willett on the bottom. Ooh, almost a little contact between him and teammate Cody McCauley, but Willett's going to fall in the third. Here comes a big run from Cody McCauley, looking to the inside as they head down to turn 3 and 4.
Well, you want to talk about some close contact between teammates. We almost had a repeat of the incident between the 97 and the 23. GT opted to try to swing down for that inside lane right ahead of teammate Michael Sheffield, and Sheffield did everything he could not to completely run over that 4.
Side by side racing for the lead. Looks like Cody McCauley here going to power out of turn 4 and clear the 31. Dylan Reed to retake the lead for that 62. What a job by him as they go down to turn 1. Ooh, almost the 31, almost into the rear, and a little love tap. Here comes Willett as the 31 had to check up for the 62. Does he drive it in deep enough to get to the inside of Reed? Doesn't look like it. 31 will close the door, and we are back 1, 2, 3 with this combination.
This is exactly what the 81 and John Willette's wanting. These two to get up here, race each other hard, and maybe take each other out, because he's definitely not quite had the speed as the 62 and the 31 on the short or mid run, but we saw before he had the speed over his teammate Cody McCauley late run. And if he can just get these two out of the picture, maybe they take themselves out. He's got the strongest truck out here so far.
It's definitely that could be a good little plan there as you're looking at GT here. In that Ford truck, he's in the 7th position right now, directly ahead of teammate Michael Sheffield, directly behind teammate Curtis Preston. Ooh, is Cody McCauley, big moment out front. Does he block for lead? He covers off the inside. Oh, the 31 goes even lower. Here we go, racing for the lead again between these top two.
Really aggressive, but really smart driving by the two of them. I've seen a lot of times in a lot of races here where somebody will make that really aggressive move super low into the corner and completely overshoot and just take out the truck above them. So great driving by these two, keeping it side by side here for the lead.
Still side by side as they fight down the back straightaway here. And I can tell you what, on that outside lane, you can get a great run off, but it can really tear up the rears as you get such a shoot off that corner. And I'm seeing McCauley with big wiggles. Oh, look, he's going to do the crossover with the big run to the inside. Oh, almost the 31 closing the door. Does the 62 give him a bump, a little rear tap there to the back of that 31. It's definitely getting a little more spicy, I think, between the racing between these top two. And it's letting Willett say, you know what, guys, you battled super hard. I'm with you now. You ain't pulling the same gap like you did earlier.
Well, the benefit here is the 81's not having to try that hard to keep up with these guys. You know, they're really kind of overdriving, making a lot of mistakes and slowing themselves down, where he's just taking it easy, going, all right, guys, go ahead, pull the gloves off.
Sometimes it's good to be the third fastest car here at Martinsville, man. I can tell you sometimes it does work out in your favor with top two guys that are so close. And they battle.
Oh, Chad Biesinger around.
Oh, no, there goes the 23 for our 6th caution of this evening. Brought to you by Or Nissan Central. We'll have to go back here and check this out in the Freaky Fast replay. But, man, Chad Biesinger, the 23, going around here in turn 1 and 2 as we pull up the replay now. We'll see him coming off the exit here forward. He's got Curtis Preston all over the back end of this 23 going down the 1 and 2. That's another case of losing the rear end there, getting a little too hot in the 1.
Yeah, and so far we've seen that's 3 cautions now for, you know, just a little bit over driving and losing the rear end into the corner, 2 for losing the rear end on exit, and only 1 for car-to-car contact. So all this is telling me is that their biggest enemy out there on the track right now is themselves.
It definitely is. And we got some different strategies. Curtis Preston here. Just like that. The 4 of GT, the 1 of Michael Sheffield, and the 59 Travis Evers. So Slide Job Racing pulling a little bit of a different strategy here coming down pit road. I wonder, do they take tires or are they hitting the fuel? Because from here on out, you can make it to the end of this race if it went completely green. That's what they're doing. They're filling the trucks up. That's it.
Well, it's a good strategy. I mean, right now it doesn't seem like any one of those trucks has the speed to go out and win this thing, uh, just on outright speed. But if it goes green and they do have to cycle around for these green flag stops, these guys are in a great spot because the other guys are going to have fresher tires, but it's still going to take them quite a while to then catch back up because they're probably going to have to unlap themselves one. So they're nearly going to have to make up a lap and a half to get back to the lead if it goes green. So maybe not a win, but definitely a good track position or finishing position strategy out of these four trucks.
We'll have to see how that all shakes out here with a little bit of different strategies, but we did post in the chat here for you guys the live timing and scoring link there to our website at Freaky Fast. Our website there, as you can see the live time, and it can really help you follow along with the lap times, see who's running the quickest times, who pitted last, what it gives you all types of information there on that link. So definitely want to go check that out if you're following along here with the race tonight. Also, thank you everybody for tuning in out there. Hit us up in chat if you want to know anything, and we'll try to get you hooked up there with that. And also remember, you can go check out in the description our link to our merch there for Freaky Fast merch. So go check that out, and also check out the website there. So got some cool stuff for y'all guys to go look at as we're under pace laps here with 138 laps in the books at the Adrenaline Rush Truck Series here at Martinsville.
And Zach, I've noticed the in race radio has been pretty quiet tonight. Not too many guys really talking about very much. Maybe due just guys aren't really happy with the way their trucks are driving and not wanting to get on and show their agitation. But pretty quiet over the radio transmissions tonight. It may just be that Ryan Ezell's not out there giving me a hard time about the things I'm talking about.
Very, very true. Yeah, and I mean, this place right here takes a lot of dedication and focus, so guys can be pretty focused on just this race, getting it done. And we'll get this pace truck in here. Dylan Reed going to lead us back to green flag racing here as he takes off in the 31. There it is, green flag in the air. And he's going to clear the 62 as they head down here to turn one. What has Cody McCauley got in store for him? These two been going at it all race.
Well, they have cycled the tires. They cooled off just a little bit, and it almost gives McCauley a chance to settle down and take it a lot easier, trying to plan out how he's going to attack this 31. As we saw, he really burned up the rears a little bit, and it really overheated him. Couldn't get a lot of power down and was struggling with the exits. See if he can manage that any better this run.
Looks like Craig A. Burns there getting passed by Curtis Preston passing Alex Rudolph. I completely mistake that there as GT gets by Craig A. Burns, moves himself up a position to 7th. As remember, these slide job racing trucks can make it to the end of this race on their tires and fuel. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. I don't see it going green all the way to the end. We've just seen way too many guys lose the rear end and the rear ends of these trucks. I just don't see them being able to make it that far without some type of caution out here on the racetrack.
Yeah, I've got to echo that statement. It just seems like we get about 20-30 laps, and then there just is a little bit of a mishandling on the racetrack, and somebody overdrives or somebody makes a little bit of contact, which we've only seen the one time. So it's pretty good that pretty much all the trucks are still out here running. But for it to go green, it's not something you really see a lot at Martinsville, just due to the nature of the track.
Yeah, watching this battle there was GT all over the back bumper Alex Rudolph as we go down the turn one. Looks like he's going to get by Alex Rudolph as now he's got teammate Curtis Preston directly ahead in the 5th and 6th position for these two. As Travis Everett now plays into the back bumper for the 42 also. So you got a good little battle in here between here from 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th positions.
Ooh, Alex Rudolph a little bit into the fence here, and he's just seems to be really struggling with the speed. He's got quite a bit of damage on the nose of that truck. Not having a good night for that 42.
Yeah, this is a place where things can snowball on you real quick, man. Just one time getting into the wall, and it can lead up to a lot of big other problems. As I tell you what, the top two still haven't separated themselves. They were not doing social distancing here at Martinsville, that's for sure tonight.
Yeah, and their lap times are still really similar. We'll see what they are this time by as it comes across, and almost identical. Dylan Reed just 100th quicker last time by.
Oh, only 2,000ths actually. That's a 20:37.6 to a 27:37.4. So, wow.
Numbers are hard.
Trust me, I know they can't beat you there. That was Cody McCauley there a couple hundred slower that time, but these two definitely going at it. I'm gonna be interested to see what the pace is like with them on even tires on the long run because we've seen McCauley almost losing the rear end on that 62. He's definitely struggled with the rear steer tonight.
Oh, it really overshoots the corner there.
And, that can be that he literally coming out of turn 4 just lit the rear tires up, and that makes it where next time you go down into turn 1 or 2, whatever corner you're leading into, it really has them tires hot, and they do not like getting slowed down quickly when those tires are hot. And that's what I think you see in the case of there was just a compounding of an issue from turn 4 to turn 1.
And if you do not recognize the issue that you're having and cannot, take care of it very early on, where you realize the truck is stepping out, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and Dylan Reed's looking very smooth right now. Looking at him, his line right around the curb, nice and beautiful, and not many people running that line, and that really personally helps that 31 calls out because it puts less rubber on them left side tires right there on that bottom, and you get that cleaner racetrack where you get a little bit more bite on that cleaner racetrack here.
And it's something that's it's a lot easier to do in 1 and 2 than it is 3 and 4. 3 and 4, the curbing there is not quite smooth. It's kind of got some places where it juts out and flattens out a little bit, so you're, you know, uh, maybe a foot or so farther off the curb than you would be in 1 and 2, which is really, really smooth. But he's been navigating 3 and 4 pretty well.
And that's a great point by you, Brandon. Like this track, if you looked at it from a sheet of paper, just look down on top of it, you'd be like, "Oh, those corners are completely the same." Yes, they may be shaped completely the same, but I can tell you they're two distinct corners because down into one, you got a lot of bumps. There's a bump there on the left entering that corner, and you can really lock up that left front tire there continuously by hitting that bump. And that can lead to just worse tire wear on that left front tire, which is that tire grips in there and pulls you around the curve. So that can really affect you here in turn 1 is there's a little bump on the entry. Turn 3, it always seems like it's downhill. You always feel like you go off into turn 3 with a way bigger head of steam than you do with turn 1, and it seems way easier to lose the rear. And speaking of lose the rear, the 62, I don't know if they put an old set of tires on his truck. I know they can't do that here on iRacing, but his truck the handling's just really gone. And that's the thing I was saying. This track changes a lot during the daytime. The hotter and more rubber this track lays down, the slicker and slicker it gets in certain spots.
I think, Zach, a lot of it has to do with he's seeing that he has a truck in front of him that he knew he was faster than earlier, and he may be just trying a little bit too hard to find that speed and catch back up.
Very easy to do at this track. You try to base yourself off your competition here. And if you see somebody driving away, it definitely can lead to you just, making them drive away farther just by trying to catch up.
Yeah, it's the old saying that slower is faster. It's easy to say you understand, but when you're in, the car or the truck and you're out here racing, the only thing that you think about is I need to go faster to be quicker. And it's so easy to convince yourself and just not even consciously, just subconsciously to overdrive and then hurt your speed in the long run when in reality, especially at a place like Martinsville, slower is so much faster. As we're seeing right now, Cody McCauley getting into the fence again. He's having real handling issues with the rear of that truck off the corner.
It really is. Here's Craig Burns, who almost losing it on the exit. Ooh, he had a tough time there. And showing you very rear limited here early in this race is is the leader. Oh, he's come back. Okay. Ooh, he scared me there. I thought Dylan Reed might have left us there, but he blinked back in. And I can kind of see personally, just from the laps I've done around this place. I mean, I would say this is a place I put down by far the most laps on this service. I remember the day I bought it when I first got iRacing service, and I just ran laps around this place just because this was the place I went and watched racing, you know, for my whole life, pretty much. This is kind of where I kind of got my love for everything, and you know, just watching them here, I can really see the difference between the 31, the 62, and what a lot of other guys are doing too. If you oh wow, as I speak of the 31, trying to give him some praise, he about overdoes it and spins it there, and he lost about 2 tenths to Macaulay. But the thing I really see the difference is you're going to see the 62 really washing out towards the wall on the exit and really pushing the limits and getting up into that wall where the truck's pushing out on the exit of the corner. You're going to see a little bit of different thing from Dylan Reed as he has kind of messed it up the last few laps, but that 31, he doesn't really push out towards the wall. He kind of gets a straight enough exit to where he never really even gets that close to the wall till the entry of the next corner where he tries to open up the corner a little bit. So his is a completely different philosophy. It's kind of, the truck's driving straight down the track instead of straightening out towards the wall. And that right there is a huge thing. I see a lot of people do at this racetrack that can get you in trouble, but it depends on how the truck's handling and where the balance is headed. Those things can lend themselves to different types of handling abilities. So it's definitely cool to see the different styles because that's one thing I just know straight off the bat when we go to Martinsville. I can look at a truck and tell you, hey, that truck looks completely different than that truck with the way they're driving it, and it's going to lead to something different down the road. As it definitely has as this race has continued on.
Yeah, and as you were talking about it, I've been watching, and it's not one of my best tracks, but I've learned quite a bit about how to be faster here, and that's one of the first things that I learned is, you don't need to put the gas down the second you realize the corner's starting to straighten itself out, because that wall, especially if the truck is tight, will come up in a hurry, and putting more wheel into it is just going to lead to stepping the rear out when you get back to full throttle. And someone who can be patient in Martinsville is someone who's going to be fast. It really benefits you to wait until you're almost pointing straight before you really start digging on the gas. And the more your right front hurts, the harder that, trying to get back to the gas a little after center is going to be harder, and you're going to have more issues where you're stepping out like that because the right front's heated up, it's worn out, it's not going to turn, you're going to have to put more wheel into it, and that's going to hurt the rear tires as well, and it's just going to end up in a lot of lost time.
It definitely can lead to that. And, what I'm seeing right now is the 62 looking better. But it also goes through phases. You go through a phase of where you're able to put down some really, really good lap times, and then the rear tires start to get hot and you really start to struggle. So it's a big old cycle here in Martinsville, and Macaulay's definitely getting inroads now on the 31. And I think it's starting to show that he's got a little bit better grip right now on the truck.
Well, I think that comes down to Zach that he was struggling so much, trying to maintain or decrease the gap that he had to the 31, and the way the truck was handling, he was almost forced to go slower, and he found a good pace, a good rhythm, and now we're almost seeing the opposite, where Dylan Reed sees that Cody's now catching him, so he's got to pick up the pace, and we've seen it looks like he's just overdriving a little bit, trying to maintain that gap, and keep away from the 62.
Yeah, one thing we got to know is Cody Macaulay, Dylan Reed, John Willett, Chris Harvey here, top four, all have to pit still. They cannot make it to any race on fuel. And if it gets to a point where they do have to pit, man, that's going to put the Slide Job Racing guys in a nice spot because right now they're sitting 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And Curtis Preston only 5.3 back from the leader. GT only 6.7, Travis Everett 8 seconds back. That would be a race-winning move if these guys can keep this type of gap in between them and the leaders, as we see.
Yeah, they've done a really good job keeping a really solid pace going. They charged up through the field a little bit on that restart where they didn't take the new tires, but I think the extra fuel load just kind of helped the truck rotate a little bit better than some of these other guys, and they've still kept a lot of really good pace. And you talk about where if it goes green, a lot of these guys are going to have to pit. Even if they get a yellow, there's going to be a number of trucks that are caught a lap down, especially if the yellow happens pretty early on after the pit sequence where they don't have to pit. And that will allow them to then come into pit, take tires, and still be in the lead. Granted, it's not as big of an advantage as they would have had if it just goes green all the way, but it still gives them really good track position to fight for the end of this race.
It really does. And right now, riding on board here with Chris Harvey in the second or in the third or fourth position. I'll get it right sooner or later. But he's been all over the back bumper of John Willett here for really, I'd say, the last, good 30 laps here. So he's putting pressure on Willett, but Willett hasn't made a mistake yet. We'll have to see if the 97 can continue to move forward. Tell you what, the 97 of Harvey and Willett right now running some of the fastest lap times on the racetrack too.
Yeah, I've been looking at it for a little while, and both the 97 and the 81 are matching or just a little bit better than the leader of Dylan Reed, and certainly Cody McCauley. Cody McCauley's off by about a tenth and a half from our leader right now, and about 2/10 to a tenth and a half from third and fourth place of John Willett and Chris Harvey. So the 62 struggling a little bit, where these guys in the third and fourth position doing what they did in an earlier run where they didn't necessarily take off that fast, but they had incredible long run speed.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the ebbs and flows of these times because McCauley was definitely closing the gap on Reed. He closed it down to really 7/10 of a second. Now it's back out to 1.7. So it's swung back in the favor of Reed, and even Willett and Harvey here running really good times here in the third position. So it's pretty interesting to watch. Man, I just seen Curtis Preston. He was looking down pit road there. He was so sideways.
Yeah, that's not a good look. You don't want to be looking at the inside of pit road when you're not on pit road.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be doing that. That's for sure, my friends. As Dylan Reed right now continuing to pounding great lap times here late in this portion of the run. McCauley here is starting to fall back a little bit, and I tell you what, it's only about 2.7 back to Willett and Harvey. I could see, especially Harvey. If Harvey can get around Willett is strong right now too, but Harvey definitely hounding him, and I think he's got something that can go forward here.
I think you're right, Zach. Their times are pretty even, but I think that's just due to the fact that, like we saw with Dylan Reed trying to get around Cody McCauley earlier, he's running those times because he just can't get around the guy ahead of him. So he's kind of forced to just match times until he can find that opportunity to pounce and attempt to make that pass. So I think if he can get around the 81, he should be able to get around Cody McCauley, no problem, track him down in a number of laps. As for the 31, I'm not quite sure. That's about 3 seconds of a gap back to John Willett and Chris Harvey right now. So it's possible, there's still plenty of time left. We've got about 80 laps or so to go. And it could happen. Be interesting to see. And it looks like as it's going now, he's going to have the opportunity. As it's been pretty green, everybody's gotten pretty spread out.
Okay, my question now is too, when do these guys pit? Because they wait too long, they won't be able to make up ground on the guys that can't pit. If they do it too early, they get called under caution, then you can throw the race out of the window pretty much there.
Well, I think, we've got like 80 laps to go. Pit within the next 10 laps. You've still got another set of tires, and you've only got to really space that out, 40 lap runs. Or you can space it out even further than that, especially, if there is a late caution. You don't necessarily have to take that set any earlier, but you've still got really fresh tires for the end of the race. 70 laps is much better than what we're going to see out of Curtis Preston, GT, Travis Everett, Michael Sheffield. Able to make up a lot of time, and the guys that are going to pit later than you, your tires are not going to be nearly as bad as the guys you were all trying to catch. So it's going to be a lot harder for them and take a lot more time for them to run you down, even though they're going to be having a little bit more of an advantage on pace.
Oh, that's a risky saying. Oh man, Dylan Reed, our leader, almost lost it, guys. He has lost a huge bit of ground too. It's probably down within under a second now. Here's the cross the start finish line, exactly 1 second here, and that was 9/10 of a second he gave up in one corner.
Yeah, big moment there, and I'll take if I'm Dylan Reed, I'll take the time lost over wrecking that truck.
It could be coming down to what these guys are doing brake bias wise. We can only the thing with this too is we can only move the truck's brake bias 3% forward or 3% back inside of the trucks physically. So you could start with it way too low and not be able to get it up high enough to where in the end of this part of this run where you're just losing the rear on that entry. It's very easy to do that, and you want to run as much rear brake as you possibly can stand to be able to get that front turn and that roll through the center. So it's kind of a you want a lot of it, but you don't want too much of it because it could really hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I imagine some of these guys are going to be running close to 58% brake bias. That's normally about as low as I'd go. I know there's some guys like yourself who are running a bit lower than that, but just a nice baseline. You set that before uh, you start the race when you're doing your practice runs. You set your brake bias, uh, and like Zach said, you can only go 3 clicks up or 3 clicks down. So 3% up, 3%
Yellow,
down.
yellow, yellow.
Oh, as we've got a caution.
Reed, it's the
It's the
leader.
leader. Oh, and John Willett gets collected in it.
Oh, he does.
Oh,
Oh,
and Curtis Preston.
Curtis Preston. Oh no. Oh, Curtis Preston got the worst end of that though. Man, oh man, I have to go back on the Freak Fast replay here and check out our Nissan Central caution. Look at Reed losing it down to 3. Very easy corner to lose the rear. Something we've seen all night long. Trying to hang on to. The thing was, McCauley just had a huge mistake also. And man, these guys are really struggling for rear grip as this race is continued on here.
Yeah, and it looked like the 97. Yeah, these corners are so flat. It's really hard to see what's ahead of you, especially if you've got a truck ahead of you as well. That he just couldn't see what was coming, and by the time the 81 got on the brakes, the 97 of Chris Harvey, he slammed on the brakes, about locked the tires up, and just could not stop in time. Unfortunate for John Willett, but then a little mental mistake there, letting the truck, roll back trying to get going, and just pulled out in front of another truck. So unfortunate there for a lot of guys that were showing pretty good pace and really good strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I know John Willett didn't mean anything harm by that, but putting it in reverse there and backing up while traffic still comes, probably not something Curtis Press is too happy about. I imagine. I can only imagine that. You might as well just hold it down there, let everybody go by, then back up after that. But I know he's trying to get back in position. It's just, you know, can't be. It's unfortunate for Curtis Preston, especially.
Yeah, and nothing against John Willett when I say this, but PSA to anybody watching, anybody who's seen the broadcast and thought, I'd really like to give iRacing a try. This is something that is going to be rammed into your ears from the moment you start in rookies. If you wreck, hold your brakes. You're just hold them. You can get it turned back around when everybody gets by. Just hold your brakes.
Yep, let everybody get by you because if you start moving, that's when you're going to see huge issues. So, unfortunate there for a few guys, but we'll see if it can shake out any different here because I believe Preston there is he's still sitting on pit road. He must use it. Oh, no, he's starting to get jacked up now. I figured he towed it, and yeah, he's going to be a few laps down here. He could get some cautions to help him out, but we'll see. Here's Cody McCauley now, our leader. 1 lap till the next screen here. And these guys can go all the way to the end, so the strategy that Slide Job Racing employed will not be available. But now Dylan Reed on his last set of tires, everybody else 1 set of tires left in the pits.
And getting some radio chatter is that when Curtis Preston in the 29 made contact with the 81, it put him into the wall, and he just couldn't move the truck anymore, so he had to tow it back, and that's why he's a number of laps down.
Unfortunate there for that 29 as they are off and away. Wow, McCauley shot out of a cannon. Look at Willett. He's going to go look to the inside of 31. Let's say he's going to close the door, wash up the track a little bit. This is going to let Willett get to the inside here. Can the 31 power off down the back straightaway, and he will clear that 81 here as they head down to turn 3.
Well, if I'm the 81 right now, I'm going to be doing all I can to make sure that Dylan Reed has to use up his tires, knowing that's his only set left, and that you still have a set sitting on pit road for later in this race. As we are at 66 laps to go now.
Yeah, nearing a very close in here. I mean, the 66 laps here can click off in a matter of a few minutes. It feels like sometimes. So it's going to be a quick run to the end here with Travis Everett now up to 5th. He's been around that 5th to really 8th position all night with a teammate there, GT Irizarry. I'm sure coming down to the end, he might be able to put himself in the top 5 position as he's the top 5 king.
Yeah, it's very likely he hasn't been up contending. He's been right around 5th to 9th, just kind of hanging out, not really having as much speed as the leaders have, but still a very consistent run as we see race in and race out of that Ford truck. And another top 5 is going to go a really long way, even if his next closest points competitor, the 81 of John Willett, he's only going to be 2 spots ahead of him as of right now. But he's got a 51-point gap.
Yeah, very nice gap here coming into this race for 4. And like you said, only a couple positions up is the 81. So that's what he's got to keep in mind. As McCauley there in the 3rd place, man, I believe in points. He's definitely going to make a good little round up. But got to see if Reed can go up there and challenge for him here. I think Reed's definitely saving more this time. It doesn't seem like he's trying to get as much out of that 31. And see if he can run the 62 back down before the end of this race is over. It's I would like to see it go green to the end here so we can see that kind of picture play out with the 62 driving away here and made us 31 start to roam in at the end, and we get a nice battle down to the very end of these last few laps.
Yeah, I'd really hate to see a car taken out of it just due to the fact they don't have any tires left, especially when he's been really trading off the lead with the 62. Looking at times to be the strongest truck out here, and I would hate to have an issue, not even race related where he has contact or involved in a wreck, but just simple, not enough tires in the pits.
That's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, when you don't have an extra set of tires that these guys do, and you got a good while to go here, but he's got to do his best. If they get a early enough caution here, that's probably his best friend. If they get a late caution though, he is going to be definitely not looking forward to that restart.
Yeah, absolutely not. A late race caution at this point, it's going to be a matter of just trying to, one, not get run over, but also try to fight as hard as you can to not lose as many positions as possible.
Got a nice battle forming here in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th positions here, as they're all nose to tail. Also Chad Biesinger there in the 8th position. And that'll be your last truck on the lead lap, as Travis Everett is starting to put a little pressure on the 97, who 97 seems to come into it later in the run, definitely. And I think he could challenge for a podium here if this run goes all the way to the end.
Yeah, I think so too. We showed at the end of that the previous run before our caution, he was right on the back bumper of that 81. 81 just seems to have a little bit better short run speed and pulls out the gap. It just takes a little bit longer for the 97 to really close it in, but late in the run, especially, we've got about 50 laps to go here, a little over 50 laps to go. There's still plenty of time for that long run speed out of the 97 to kick in, and he can possibly get up here and finish with the top 3.
And riding on board here with Travis Everett, trying to make inroads on that 97, but 97 looking strong so far here for the 4th and 5th positions, as we're nearing the end of this race. Looks like Alex Rudolph on pit road with the engine smoking in that 42. The 10th place man, he'll go a second lap out there.
Well, I think that's it's going to benefit Curtis Preston. It's at least one more position that he's able to gain, but it's not really surprising that the engine on the 42 let go. He had a lot of early damage, and really it's just a matter of time. it seems like the damage isn't that bad. Maybe you're down just a little bit on power, um, but the temps creep up pretty quick, especially how much you almost redline at the end of these long straights with just the gearing. Um, the temps will heat up pretty quick.
Yeah, that's the number one definitely cause for concern when you get in those damage here is the temperatures, that oil and that water overheating that engine and leading to an early expiration date for that that motor. So it's never a good thing here in Martinsville to have that happen to you. As right now, leader Cody McCauley, he's about 1.5 seconds ahead of Dylan Reed, he's continued to build that gap, and the bigger this gap gets here was when we come to 50 to go this time, the tougher it's going to be for that 31 to run it back down.
Yeah, and I think it looks like now the 31, he's trying a little bit different of a line, especially it looked like in 3 and 4, he got really close, didn't let it float up nearly as much as he had been, just clipped the curb a little bit, and it may be due to him trying different things that gap's extending a little bit, but I think before too long we'll see him go back to the line that he's kind of preferred throughout most of this race here, and hope maybe that it's not the nose damage that's costing him any time.
Yeah, that nose damage you got shouldn't be too bad. This place, aerodynamics, you can kind of throw them out the window. Personally, you'd rather have the front fenders cut off, get some airs to them tires. So that's always something that you don't really worry about too much. Like you said, mostly it's due to cooling is when you start to worry about damage these places. But Cody McCauley right now just flying compared to Dylan Reed. And I wonder if Dylan Reed's kind of, either change something up. Is the track change? And that's something I allude to. This race, when you get cautions, you can have one run. It completely flip-flops on its head. And it's like, where did all that speed and all that pace go from that guy? And where did this guy get all this pace also?
It's really frustrating to have a super long run. And I know you know this from experience where you feel great. Balance is just how you like it. You figured out, where you need to run for your car or truck to really make a lot of time around here. And then you put on fresh tires and you wish you had the old tires back. It just feels so much worse and you just can't figure out what you need to do different.
And it being a rhythm track, yeah, you kind of tend to do the same thing over and over again when you mess up. It's a tough one, man. And it's really tough to continuously get good laps here. And I tell you what, Reed cut into the lead just a little bit and then lost some time there. So we'll see if this starts the phase of where Dylan Reed can start to cut to the lead with Cody McCauley, or does Cody McCauley go all the way to the end here with a pretty strong truck?
Well, it's looking like the latter's going to be the case. He's been pretty flawless, a little bit of stepping out on the rear and off into the corner, but not nearly as bad as we've seen previously, and really smooth laps. He's just been about a little under a tenth every lap quicker, and he's been the quickest truck on the track for a majority of this run.
Yeah, he's just looked different this run. He's just pulled out to 2.4 seconds. It's been the best run he's had so far for sure. I hope this doesn't. I mean, he just got to the wall a good bit there off 4, so we'll have to see how that shakes up for him there. So it's kind of been something I've seen him do multiple times tonight so far, is getting to that wall 4. And does he burn the rears up here by going out here and running these super fast laps as we're coming to 41 to go this time by?
I'm sure that Dylan Reed's hoping that is the case, that he's going to get out and be a little bit too aggressive. But the one way that you for sure can make somebody do that, you have to be there putting that pressure on. Right now, there's not much pressure for Cody McCauley to really need to overdrive. Dylan Reed is closing in the gap just a little bit, but it just seems like one corner, there's a bit of a miscue, and he seems to give a good handful of that gap he gained right back. But if the 31 can get up there and put a little pressure on the 62, force a mistake, maybe feint to the inside and kind of force an overdrive into the corner, that's going to be his best shot, because I don't see Cody McCauley really pushing it too hard on his own and making that kind of mistake right now.
Yeah, McCauley's usually pretty bulletproof when it comes to that stuff, so we'll have to see his little big wiggle off of exit of 2 there. could the rear tires be expiring on this 62 and starting to get into that phase? We will have to see as it's definitely getting a little bit spicy right now. I have to see if Dylan Reed cuts into the lead there a couple hundreds again, but he's gonna have to do more than that if he really wants to, like you said, start putting the pressure on. And but he can't do it too fast either. If he runs up here real too fast, his tires will start to go into that critical phase. And it's a hard thing to do to run somebody down, but at a nice steady pace to where you're not burning your stuff up.
Well, I'll tell you, Zach, looking at the timing, the live timing as they're going around the track here, Cody McCauley is pulling out, half a tenth, close to a tenth on the entry of every corner, whereas Dylan Reed will then pull back, that another tenth, a little bit more than what he lost on every exit. So it seems like if Cody keeps doing what I think he's doing and overdriving the entry, before too long, he's not going to have enough right front tire left to put up much of a fight, and he's going to lose a lot of time. Dylan Reed goes in really hard into turn 3 there and washes up the racetrack.
Yeah, what's been the Achilles heel right now has been Dylan Reed in 3 and 4. He's his 3 has just not been great. And he's 1 and 2. He hasn't made many mistakes down there. And like I said, 3's downhill, so it's the easier corner to overdrive and wash up that racetrack. And that's kind of the case I'm seeing from that 31. Just a little bit of overdriving down there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's really easy to do, and the funny thing is that when the tires wear in here, your braking point doesn't change too much. It backs up. You can back it up just a little bit, but you're not going to be braking a whole lot earlier than you normally would. And then just that slight miscue where rather than the 50 feet maybe you were at, you go back to your original braking point, it will mess you up big time. And that's where you'll see a lot of late race spins like we have going into the corners and just the back end stepping out.
Looking at John Willett now, right now, 6.5 seconds back in the 3rd position. Look who's starting to close in, that 97. At the end of these runs, is 97 he just looks stronger and stronger as the run goes on.
Yeah, the late race pace late run pace that we talked about earlier, and it's really kicking in here now as we've got 30 laps to go, coming to 30 laps to go. Plenty of time here still for him to be patient and make the pass on the 81. Not much hope to get up to the top 2 right now, but 3rd place is certainly within grasp.
Yeah, they're going to need something definitely drastic to happen for that to change, where they can get into the top 2 positions. But man, oh man, what a great run it's been for this 97. He's just been really strong on these long runs compared to the rest of the field.
And a really good job to bounce back after the early contact that sent him around between himself and the 23, and then even the contact with John Willett under our last caution. Didn't really hurt the truck much, and he's still got plenty of speed, and he hasn't let himself get rattled by it.
A 2-second gap again with our leaders here, Cody McCauley and Dylan Reed. So, yeah, McCauley, he's rebounded a little bit here with we see the battle for 6th and 7th here, Michael Sheffield and GT Irizarry as these teammates battle. They also got teammate Travis Everett there in the 5th position. Is actually, I believe, Curtis Preston pulled it on the pit road, and
I don't know if you saw that, Zach, but for a GT Irizarry, he is hanging it out.
it definitely hanging it out for that 4, trying to hold on to that truck here in these final.
It almost looks like the old, the way they used to set up the old Cup cars where they had kind of that crab walk. He's a self-imposed crab walk out of the corner for the 4.
Yellow flag is out.
Oh, caution! The 97.
John Willett may be involved here too, possibly. We'll see. Nope. It does look just Chris Harvey involved in that for 8th caution of the evening. Look here on the Nissan Central caution with the Freaky Fast replay. See what happened here is they coming out of 497 and Chris Harvey trying to put the power down. Just loses the rear. Oh, hard hit to the nose, and he's going to bring that thing straight to the garage. So that's night over for Chris Harvey.
And really, that's more or less night over for the 31 of Dylan Reed. That was the absolute worst thing for that 31 right now.
Well, that stays out also here with the 31. That's an interesting call as the rest of the field comes down to pit road. I am intrigued by this, Brandon. This right here changes everything. I thought, well, that would for sure go down. Maybe he's thinking there'll be another caution.
Quite possibly. I mean, my thinking here is it's late in the race. Everybody's going to have fresh tires. Guys are going to be fighting pretty hard. You know, the give and take, it's pretty much just give at this point. And it opens up a lot of opportunities for there to be that caution and take advantage of it a little bit later on where you've got fresher tires and you've taken your last set. It's not going to work out for the 31. He's going to drop back, and there's really not much that he can do aside for hope that a lot of guys get junked in something. But the 81, if he gets a really well-timed caution and puts on that last set, there's not many cars left on the lead lap. And he's not going to start off with too bad a track position. He's going to have some decent time to put those fresh tires to use.
Yeah, that's an interesting call from him personally. We'll have to see how it all shakes out, but I understand what you're saying too, Brandon. I mean, he would only have to start 7th technically, but that still is 6 trucks to drive through in a short amount of time at Martinsville.
And this, looking at it, Zach, he, especially with the situation that Dylan Reed is in, he had a second place truck, especially with Chris Harvey having his incident. There's nobody that's really contending him for the speed for second place anymore. And rather than just be happy with second place, he's trying something for that one extra spot for that win. He's not just going to be happy with second place.
That's what it seems. It does seem that way, my friend. So we'll have to see how it all works out for him here as they'll get lined up next time to get ready to go back green flag racing. But it's got me on the edge of my seat here with 22 to go. Now, Dylan Reed's tires will come back to him here a little bit, but they're going to be at a big disadvantage here compared to the rest of the field with the tires he's going to be on.
Yeah, he's just got to hope now that he doesn't get run over. He's going to have to be a little bit aggressive just to not lose too much time. But don't put yourself in a position where you might spin out going into the corner like we've seen or off the corner like we've seen, and don't put yourself in a position where somebody's going to have to give you the bumper.
Well, we'll have to see here as the pace truck pulls in this time here for the Adrenaline Rush Truck Series. Round number 10 here at Martinsville. We got 21 to go, coming to 20 to go with Dylan Reed leading us. Green flag in the air. He takes off. Great restart for him, but look at Cody McCauley getting to the inside of teammate John Willett here as they head down to turn 1 side by side. Here comes Travis Everett also in the 59 on the new tires. Here comes the 62 of Cody McCauley. Dylan Reed covers him off, gets to the inside lane, but here comes the run from the 62, a little bump to the rear end of the 31 side by side as they go down to turn 1. Here is the 59 shy as the 62 is going to try to roll the outside lane. Oh, Michael Sheffield making the pass in the back too. Chad Biesinger and GT Rizari all around John Willett. Here is the 62 of Cody McCauley, fouts around the outside for the lead.
Well, this is exactly what Dylan Reed needed to do. Make it difficult. Make Cody have to really push on the outside and not just give him the easy pass on the inside.
18 to go. New leader Cody McCauley up to front. Here comes Travis Everett in the 59 to the inside of Dylan Reed as they go down to 3. Travis Everett all day, 5th to 8th place truck. He's going to be able to put himself in position here for a top 3 finish. What a night that could be for him here at the Martinsville Speedway as they're side by side. He will clear the 31 Dylan Reed as they head down to turn 1 with Sheffield now fighting possibly for a top 3 position with behind Dylan Reed directly.
Yeah, a little bit of a overdrive into the corner for the 1, but lucky for him, the 23 of Chad Biesinger, a little bit sloppy of an exit, stepped the back end out and allowed him to hold on to that position pretty firmly. And now we're going to have to see if Travis Everett can do anything to catch that 62.
Look at this on the back bumper, Dylan Reed. There's the 1 of Michael Sheffield down to business time. What does Sheffield have here in the 1? He's got the newer tires. Dylan Reed tires up the racetrack. You see what a big slide up the racetrack, and I think that's night over for him.
Oh, 81's around.
81's around, bringing out the caution. with 15 to go. And I believe he's going to come in and pit this time now.
This may well be a spin and win type of situation. Might see if these tires are going to pay off for him.
It'll be interesting to see how the 81 can use those tires. But yeah, Dylan, like here we are on the Nissan Central caution with the freaky fast replay. You can see he just lost it off 4. Didn't hit nothing though. That's the big thing for him.
Well, the benefit now is that Dylan Reed has pulled it behind the wall.
Yes.
So that's an extra spot he's not going to have to fight for now. And there's only 6 trucks on the lead lap.
I don't see it being a race win, move here, but I can still see him getting a top 2 or top 3 still from this position he's in.
And it very well could. I think he needed a little bit longer of a run. It's only been 10 laps, and it's going to kind of be negated a little bit by this cool down period under caution. A lot of these guys are going to get, a lot more grip. Tires are going to cool off. I think he still had a second place truck, and he should finish there. Depending on how difficult it's going to be for him to navigate a lot of this traffic. But at least he tried something.
Hey, that's right. It's put him in the ball field now where he can only go forward, really. It's actually Craig A. Burns there getting a lucky dog, too, so he'll get back on the lead laps. That's 7 trucks, but he will start behind the 81, of course. But, man, yeah, we'll see what Ouellette can do here. The big thing is he's going to start on the outside lane is the big issue I have for him. The 7th might not have been too bad because he started on the inside, but we'll see. He's still got the fresher tires. We'll see if he can get around any of these guys. But, at the moment, Cody McCauley here with Travis Everett, Michael Sheffield, and Chad Biesinger all up here in the top 4 with GT Rosario. Our points are up to 5th now. It's, and also you got to give a shout out to Craig Burns, who got back on the lead lap now. That's a huge race for him because he's had a lot of struggles tonight in the 2. He's definitely not had the greatest night, but that just shows you at Martinsville in these tough places like this, if you can just survive, a lot of your competition will drop out.
Yeah, it's a battle of attrition. Just keeping your truck as clean as possible and just staying out of stuff that happens. And Craig Burns, he's had a bit of unfortunate circumstances happen, but his truck's still really clean. He's managed to get back on the lead lap now. He's able to take his, I believe that's his last set of tires, and come out on the lead lap. And if anything happens to these trucks now in this this final stage of the race, he can only stand to gain more positions. A top 5 is definitely not out of reach for that 2 truck.
That would be something there for Craig. That would be a great turnaround for him for how this race has went for him so far in that 2. So, I have to monitor how that plays out.
And
here is going to lead us to green.
Before we go back to green, I want to point out the fact that GT came over the radio and he says, well, I don't know if you guys at Freaky Fast are listening, but I just want to reiterate the fact that I hate this place. The GT is definitely, he's happy to see this thing winding down.
Hey, 10 laps to go for him. It'll be coming to 9 to go as the green flag is out. Cody McCauley leads us down and away. What a jump for him. The 62 great start, 59. Oh, no, Michael Sheffield up the racetrack. That's going to let teammate GT Irizarry up to 3rd. Can he get a podium? They side by side with Chad Biesinger down the back straightaway. Here comes John Ouellette up to 4th now.
Yeah, 2 cars in 1 corner there for the 81. That was a really good, timely positioning on his part. And now looking to try to get by the 4 of GT very quickly here. Cannot. Oh, we got a spinner in the back. It's Michael Sheffield.
The 23.
Oh, no, it's not Michael Sheffield.
Biesinger, I believe there's a contact there between him and Michael Sheffield for our 10th caution of the night. Brought to you by Nissan Central. I'll go back here on the Free Fast replay and get you a shot. Exactly what happened here is the battle between the 23 and the 1. Here as they go down to turn 1. Here they go down to the corner. And, oh, yeah, Michael Sheffield into the back bumper. That 23 of Chad Biesinger sends him right on around.
Is just trying to drive as hard as you can here with this few laps left. Short track racing, unfortunately, the 23 caught the bad end of that deal.
Yeah, that's rough for him, but not losing too much track position with the amount of trucks we have on the lead lap, so that's not going to hurt him too bad if he can just hang on to this seventh or eighth position, or seventh or sixth position here with the battle.
Well, I know GT just said that he couldn't stand this place, but he's sitting in a pretty good spot right now.
I know, right?
Travis Everett's got a good opportunity to battle with the 62 here. He can't let him get a restart like he just got on the field, and if he can stay close and just put some pressure on, a lot of stuff can happen, and we very well may see GT end up winning this thing if the 62 and the 59 get tangled up late in this race.
Yeah, I mean it's not how that's the possible range of things happen here at Martinsville. I mean, I've seen crazier. Wonder what Macaulay's going to do here. Or is Macaulay going to take the outside lane? I wonder. He does seem. He seemed like he was at first, but he's gonna drop back down here.
Well, we could end up with a situation. I believe it was Clint Boyer going into one on a restart and took out Gordon and Jimmy Johnson.
Yep, brand
And
new
it was
tires.
wasn't it? I think Ryan Newman ended up winning that race. I don't remember what position he was in when it happened.
He was pretty far back there. He was around the top 5 for sure. But yeah.
Well, if what Robert's saying is right, and it was about 7th place or so. Craig Burns is looking pretty good.
It is definitely an interesting thing to see. Well, we're gonna have pretty much a green-white checkered here, but not a green-white checkered. So
It's not looking too bad for John Willett. Granted, he has to start on the outside now. I'm sure he would definitely prefer to be in the position that the Ford GT is in on that inside lane. It gives him a really good shot to maybe make the pass on Travis Everett going off into one, depending on the restart. But he got a really good restart last time and was able to set up a pass before he went into one. And we'll have to see what he can do here. Maybe get a really good restart and take advantage of something that happens ahead of him.
we'll have to see here as there he goes. Cody Macaulay takes off and the green flag's in the air with 2 laps to go here at Martinsville as he heads down the turn with a nice sizable gap. Look at GT Irizarry fighting on the inside side by side with teammate Travis Everett as they come off a 2 dead even heat here for the second position as Cody Macaulay trying to drive away into the sunset here with 2 to go, be coming to the white flag this time here. White flag is in the air, brought to you by Sheffield Graphic.
Oh no!
Oh no, there goes the 4 round. Oh, here comes the one of Michael Sheffield. Oh no, it is popping off here as Cody Macaulay heads down to turn 3. He's gonna come out of 4 and be your Sheffield Graphics race winner here in Martinsville, with Michael Sheffield coming home in the second position and Chad Biesinger coming home in third. So 2 guys right there who were in a position not to get a top podium. And guess what? Martinsville happens, and the 4, the 81, the 59 all involved there in that late race incident.
Yeah, we talked about crazy stuff happening. We saw it right there. I mean, just battling hard for that second, third, and fourth position, and a little bit of contact goes a long way. And luckily for Michael Sheffield and Chad Biesinger, they were in a great place to capitalize on it.
Wow, what a finish that was. The 62 Cody Macaulay bringing home his 3rd victory of the season here at the Martinsville Speedway. What a finish, what a burnout. But we're going to take a quick break here and try to find our top 3 finishers here for tonight's race interviews. All right, we are back here, everyone, with our post-race interview for our top 3 drivers of tonight's finishing order here at Martinsville. Man, what a finish. It came down to the very end with Cody McCauley pulling off that Sheffield Graphics Race Winner Award. But man, oh man, Chad Biesinger just ended up in a wreck right before all that spun around, and he's going to come home and bring it home in the 3rd position. Let's hear what it feels like for him to bring home the 3rd place here. Hey, Chad, it's Zach. You got a copy?
Hey, it's Chad, yeah.
Hey, Chad, well, man, what a crazy finish down to the very end there, man. You restarted, telling the line right there at the end after getting involved in that caution to end this race, or the last one before the end of this race. How's it feel to come in 3rd after, ended up backwards there, not too many laps before?
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Because I was shocked when you pulled me to the interview thing. I didn't even realize that I had gotten up there. Yeah, I mean, the self-spin early threw me off, and then after that, I just was trying to ride around till the end. It worked out, I guess.
Well, that it did. Able to bring it home 3rd, running around near the tail end of like the top 5, the 7th, the 8th position there all night. Coming in 3rd, I'm sure that feels pretty nice there to get a few spots up there at the very last lap. But we head off to California next week. So we go from the half mile here at Martinsville down to Auto Club Speedway, where we got 2 miles of wide open racing. What do you expect to see when we go to California next week, Chad?
Well, it'll be fun, but I think it'll be crazy in a different way. Big, packs and using the draft. It'll be fun.
That it will be. We'll be right here on Freaky Fast, broadcast live for you guys next week when you hit the track at Auto Club with the Truck Series again. So that'll be a great time to see again, as this race here was crazy all night long. So congrats on 3rd here tonight, Chad. Anybody want to send a shout out to you before we let you go, man?
Well, thank you guys for the broadcast, Sheffield for the league, and all the guys in it.
Awesome stuff, Chad. Well, congrats on 3rd here tonight, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you.
All right, that was Chad Biesinger there, your 3rd place finisher tonight after a nice little finish there for him, as he was not running the 3rd most of the night, so he was able to get there after getting spun not too long ago. Now we have the 2nd place man, Michael Sheffield, to see what his thoughts are here on Martinsville tonight. Hey, Michael, it's Zach in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got you, Zach.
Well, Michael, man, I tell you what, I know the race probably didn't go as well as you wanted it to go, but I tell you what, it ended up there in 2nd after that. How's that feel?
Kind of surprising. I mean, surprisingly good. I spun early and had a couple of mishaps along the way. Martinsville's not my favorite track. I was better long run than I am on short run on these tires, but it worked out in my favor at the end there.
It definitely did. Able there to come home in the 2nd place position tonight after a few little bumps and bruises ahead of you there. So, yeah, Martinsville is definitely a tough racetrack, but we go to almost a completely, something on the complete opposite end of the spectrum at Auto Club next week. So, do you think you can have a good run there at Auto Club next week, Michael?
I usually run pretty well at Auto Club. It's going to be testing, like I always say, practice, and, see how things fall.
Well, we'll have to see how that all shakes out for you guys next week. Congrats on the 2nd place finisher tonight. Anybody want to send a shout out to before we let you go, man?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank y'all for being on the broadcast. I want to send a shout out to my sponsor, SNC Transport, and I also want to send a shout out to the rest of my team. Unfortunately, they got tied up there in the end. And David was out early. Curtis, GT, and Travis. Just running with them every week makes it fun, and that's what we're here for. So,
well, great stuff tonight, Michael, man. We'll catch you next week in the trucks again, and congrats on your win here. Or, wow, you win. It's 2nd here tonight.
all right, thanks, bud.
All right, that was Michael Sheffield, your race 2nd place, man. I almost said race winner again. I don't know why. I think we lost our winner. He is no longer in the waiting room. So I guess that means we won't get a shot with your race winner here tonight, Cody McCauley, after his 3rd victory here tonight. I was asking what his thoughts were going to the final 6 races here this season. Oh, he's popped back in. Okay, never mind. There he is. All right. Now we'll talk to your first place man. Oh, it disappeared again. I don't know if he's having some issues, but we may have to move on here as I don't see him back in here. Did he move into a different room? No, he did not. Is he back in there? No. So I guess we'll have to move on to the race results real quick and see if we can get him stable in here, and we'll try to get that in if we can get stable. So we'll go ahead and pull up the race results for now and let you guys know where all your favorite drivers finished tonight here at the Martinsville Speedway. And there we are. Race results are up. Cody McCauley bringing home his 3rd win of the season here. Second's going to go to Michael Sheffield. 3rd, Chad Biesinger after that crazy final lap. Greg A. Burns even getting back on the lucky dog there to get 4th. Great run for him. 5th's going to go to Travis Everett in the 59. John Oley at 6th. GT Irizarry after hopefully they're coming home in the top 3 there. We'll finish in the 7th position. 8th there is Dylan Reed after leading a few laps here tonight. 9th will go to Chris Harvey. 10th there is Curtis Preston. 11th will go to Alex Rudolph. 12th is David Edwards, and running at your field in the 13th position will be Richard Gonzalez. I don't believe we have your race winner, so we'll have to move on and unfortunately not be able to talk to Cody McCauley here at the end of our race here tonight. And yeah, so must be having some issues on his side, but yeah, Cody McCauley will not be able to make the interviews, but congrats to him on the win here tonight at the Martinsville Speedway as we pack it up here at Martinsville and get ready for Daytona tomorrow night here for the Evolution Racing Leagues as we head into the ARCA Evolution Series and the RSR Cup Series. So we got some great action for you tomorrow night in store here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting as always. But it's been a spectacular night here for these 267 laps here at Martinsville. Brandon, what are you thoughts about tonight's race here in Martinsville? As I think he's he must have went off to a water cooler or something. So yeah, I'll give oh, are you there? So what's your thoughts tonight, Brandon, on Martinsville?
Man, it was a typical Martinsville race. You know, a lot of really close racing, some contact there at the end that you see here time and time again, and guys just kind of struggling to really figure out how to get the power down and how to maximize their turn in. It can't ask for much more than that. Seems to always bring out some tempers in people. Saw a little bit of it, not too much. Can definitely get worse, but a great race for these guys.
That it was great racing overall here at the Martinsville Speedway. And I think we have the race leader now, so I'm going to get a quick interview in here real quick and see what his thoughts are on winning the race here tonight at Martinsville. Hey, Cody, Zach, I'm in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy. Well, congrats on your 3rd victory here tonight in the Truck Series, man. A great run for you overall tonight. Racing hard there with Dylan Reed through most of the night, able to come out of here on top, man. How's that feel?
Relieving. That was a lot. You know, that race was insane. We've been sitting here running laps for a long time, and just happy it's over. Really looking to get away from the win. We were able to capitalize on a lot of bad things happening to Dylan. I don't think that we quite had a truck that Dylan had. He was pretty quick. There's no getting around that. We got pretty lucky there towards the end. That last run, I feel like I kind of hit on something and then it faded and then come back. So pretty happy with tonight's race. You know, Martinsville's always crazy, but feels good to call it a short track win.
Oh, it definitely does. Martinsville can always be crazy, my friend. So congrats here on the victory. It was a great race to watch overall. And, you know, you alluded to finding something there at the end of that last run. You know, I talked about it multiple times on the broadcast. Sometimes you just run to run, this track can seem to change a little bit. Do you feel like you found something, the track changed a little bit there at the end? Because you definitely felt like you kind of picked up the game a little bit.
100%. With the Cup cars here, we tend to have a little more grip with the new package that NASCAR's put out. And so you run a lot different line than you generally would think so, like as compared to if you were to run an asphalt super late model at this track. With the short track cars that are designed to run short tracks don't have a lot of the high downforce. You tend to arc the corner off so you can get a good run out. The straightaways are so long, keeping your speed up down the straights is really key. Whereas when you get to the Cup cars, it's more about rolling center. If you can roll center really, really well. You've got so much horsepower and so much tire that whenever you do get back in the gas, you can really make it count. So the early runs, I was trying to drive it like it was a short track car, and it was really killing us because the car was so loose. And then right there towards the last 100 laps, the sun came out, and I felt like the racetrack really rubbered up and gained a bunch of grip. And so I kind of went back to rolling that center a lot harder, entering a lot lower, and that's when we started kind of picking up and running away from Dylan.
Yeah, definitely great insight there from your race winner here tonight, Cody McCauley. So congrats on that here tonight, man. You know, we're 10 races in now. You got 3 wins, had a ton of poles in your back pocket. You know, we got 6 races left. This should possibly move you back in second place in points with GT and John having, you know, not the greatest runs tonight, which not too far back, but not the greatest runs. How do you feel going into this last 6 race stretch? Do you feel like you can close that gap in on the points lead?
It's kind of trying to control our own destiny here. You know, like we've talked about before, we're fast week in and week out. We bring great trucks to the racetrack every time we set foot there. So it's just a matter of putting it all together, having more nights like this where we're a dominating truck, a top 2 truck, and we were able to go out there and capitalize on mistakes and not make any ourselves. That's been what's really killed us, has been pit road, speed penalties, when to pit, fuel strategy, and seems here as of late, we've been, you know, kind of felt like we were trying to knock it back down. Then last week in Kentucky, 2 speeding penalties put us outside the top 10. So this week feels good to come back, not make any mistakes, and get a win. Just gonna have to try to keep it going.
That's for sure, man. That's for sure. Great race here tonight, though. Congrats on the win again. Anybody wants to send a shout out to before we let you go?
For sure, man. I want to shout out Delta 9. Great company, guys. Check them out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. KBR Services. If you're in the Atlanta area, hit up Alex Rudolph. He's an awesome mechanic. They specialize on a lot of crazy stuff, man. Y'all got to check out some of their builds. Everybody over at Elite Racing Group. I want to thank all the guys over at HSR. Josh sat on the box tonight, called a perfect race. We almost took tires instead of saving that last set. He told us not to, so special shout out to Josh. I want to shout out Dylan too, man. Dylan ran an awesome race. I had a lot of fun racing with him tonight. So just appreciate you guys putting the broadcast on, and Michael and Ryan for getting us all out here and doing this deal.
Awesome stuff, buddy. Well, congrats on the win here tonight, and we'll catch you tomorrow night in the Cup Series.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, you have a great night.
You too.
All right, that was Cody McCullough there. As I tried to move him, he moved himself for me, so it's great. So he's on out of here, but great race here tonight from Martinsville. We got our final thoughts for me and Brandon. Now we'll send it up to the boss man himself, Robert Warner Jr., to close out tonight and let you know where you can find us again.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. What a great race here at Martinsville. Zach's favorite track, not my favorite track, but it is what it is, man. They put on some great showing, especially Martinsville is one of them tracks that, as we've seen tonight, wait till the end of the race because God knows what's going to happen, and you've seen it tonight. Beating and banging, wrecking and hitting and trying to get the victory. But like Zach said, I'd like to say thank you to everybody out there on Facebook and YouTube, but we will be live tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. Daytona season opener. We had the Clash and everything else last week for Evolution Racing League. So make sure you tune in tomorrow at 7:20 for the ARCA race and then 9:20 for the Cup race, because we're going to be at good old Daytona International Speedway with the season opener. So we'll see how that all goes and set the stone for the season of 2021 coming for these guys. So, but until then, Brandon and Zach and Robert Moyer up here in the booth would like to say God bless everybody. Love yous all. Peace out.
Y'all have a great night.
Bye, guys.